Morning, welcome to the kitchen. Today we're going to make some pizza. Got to start first thing in the morning to get the dough ready. Probably should have done it last night. What we're going to make is a Neapolitan style pizza that we call the Fra-Diablo. We first had this at a restaurant called Bertucci's up in Nashville, New Hampshire. It's just one of the most wonderful things. Sweet Italian sausage and hot cherry peppers. They don't make it anymore. That was quite a while ago. I guess my wife and I were the only ones ordering it. But when they stopped making it, we learned to make it. The only thing we added was black olives because we like them. First thing we need to do is start making dough. So I'm going to head over to the little work area on my left and show you how it's done. If you like this content, please hit the like button. Consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell so you'll get informed when I post more things for you to see. All right. This is basically all we need for pizza dough. Need a little bit of olive oil, just to keep things loosened at the end. Starting again. 3, 2, 1. Pizza dough, one of the more simple things you're ever going to make. It really is nothing more than flour, salt, water, yeast. And we also have some olive oil here to basically lubricate the bowl so that it doesn't stick while it's doing the rising. So let's get to it. First thing we want is warm water. So put this in here. And we got 106 degrees. That's good. Just going to add our yeast to it. Going to let that hydrate a little bit. In the meantime, we need to weigh our flour. And notice I said we had 6 ounces of water. I'm going to have a 2-to-1 ratio here. And that's important because it changes how the dough is. So for Neapolitan, I want a very soft dough. And so I'm going to need twice as much flour by weight as water. All right. That has zeroed out. I'm going to get myself, if I can get a spoon, 12 ounces of flour. So that's 12.5 ounces of flour. That's good enough. Let's put this into the bowl without making a horrendous mess. Yeah. Working that in there with that dough hook would have been special. Now we're going to need about a half teaspoon of salt. Not a lot of science in here. And what I'm going to do now, I'm actually going to stir the salt in. And that's enough. And this yeast is not proofed yet, so we're going to pause the video and make sure that this is actually a good package of yeast. See you probably in about 5 minutes. Pizza dough. What is it? It's basically bread flour, salt, water, yeast. That's it. Doesn't need anything else. I do have some olive oil here because that's going to be using for greasing the bowl. My recipe is by volumes. So I have 3/4 cup of hot water. And water should be about 120 degrees. And it's saying, whoop, not going to see that. $119, 120. So that's good. Let's start hydrating the yeast. I have a feeling this yeast is a little on the old side, so it may not hydrate real quickly. Let's give it a stir. Might have to give that a little extra time. In the meantime, I actually have never weighed out my bread flour, but we'll do it here for you. First thing we'll do is bring this, get that to a 0. The reason why a lot of people want you to weigh your flour is it just happens, depending on how you pack the darn thing, it can be more or less. So in this case, my 1.5 cups is 8.5 ounces. So that's what I've got. I got a 6 to 8.5 ratio here. I'm gonna pour some salt in, about a half teaspoon. Drop it in here. Let this mix it up. And while we're waiting, you can see this isn't as bad as I thought. We'll give it a few minutes, and I don't need that on anymore. That salt's in there. We'll give it a few minutes for the yeast to hydrate. You can already see some good foaming in there. So I'm thinking this is good. I'm going to nice bunch of foam on top, and then we can go from there. All right, it's only been just a couple minutes. Got some good foaming going on here, so I don't think I need to wait any longer. Just gonna put this thing in the sink, turning this on. Probably should have given that a stir before I did that, but life happens. What I don't want to do is add any more water. I'm going to add coffee to me because it's morning. All right, this will take a few minutes to come together. I'll see when that happens. Okay, we're back. We have this on high. Why? Because we can. Sort of fun. The idea is to activate the gluten. That's pretty much done. So activated the gluten. It took like 3 or 4 minutes to come together, and then did 2 minutes on the 10 setting here. So now we'll open this up and see. That's what I'm looking for. It's fairly wet. That's good. So I'm gonna come on, you can do it. I foolishly put my flour away. I'm gonna have to go get it again because I need it. All right. I'll be right back. All right. Okay, we're kind of sort of back. What I really need the flour for, I just want it on my hand so that I don't stick to the world. What I'm gonna do is just get it off the side of the bowl. And my wife's gonna go like, "You didn't wash your hands when you picked this up again." It's like, who, me? Would I do that? The answer is yes. All right, just gonna turn it over, get it covered in oil. I mean, this is pretty soft though. And we're just gonna let this rise. Put some saran wrap over it, or whatever they call it nowadays. Put some film over that, put it in the fridge. Gonna leave it there for about 10, 11 hours. Take it out, let it sit for an hour, then we'll form it into a pizza. We'll show you the hardware you need to make good pizza and a couple of your options. The one thing you're not going to find is a pizza stone. All right, it's about an hour and a half before I want to make this pizza. So what I'm going to do is, it's risen pretty much, a good amount. Take some flour, put some flour on my hand, and I'm going to break this down a little bit. I'm just going to take this out of this bowl. I'm going to bring it. There we go. I'm going to get another bit of flour. And just give it a little bit of a knead. Bring it together. And I'm just going to make a nice little ball out of it. And it's a little ball. And what we're going to do is make the equivalent of a proofing box. Every time you go to a pizza place, you'll see them take a little ball out. Well, it comes out of a proofing box. So there's our dough ball. I'm going to cover it with another piece of parchment paper, and we're going to let it sit for about an hour and a half. All right, we're getting very close to time to actually make this, and I'm going to need 2 sweet Italian sausages. These may look cooked. They're not all the way cooked. That's really important. We're going to be putting these things into a 550-degree oven, so completely cooked is not going to be good. So you'll notice I'm going to do a Chinese rolling cut here, leaving fairly big pieces, because that's the way I like it. You can do smaller pieces. I've tried using loose sausage or an uncased sausage. Didn't really like it, so this is the way I do it. You like the smaller pieces, cut smaller pieces. I'm going to do it this way. And the oven is now 550 degrees, needs about 5 or 6 more minutes before the steel is up to the temperature I want it to be, which is insanely hot. First thing I'm going to do is actually put some cornmeal on my pizza peel. And yes, I am using a wooden one. Why? Because I've always used one, been doing this for dang near 30 years. Why chart? I actually have an aluminum one. I just got it as a present, haven't learned. I've watched how people use them, and basically just haven't taken the time to practice. I want this fairly even here. Now we're going to move this out of the way. We're going to get a little bit of flour, put it down here, get that out of the way. And this, which we had been letting warm up, that has about doubled in size. And I'm going to take this, and we're just going to put it here. All right, so I have done the tossing in the air thing. I'll be honest, I actually hit the popcorn ceiling a couple times, and it was less than pretty. We'll just put it that way. So here I'm just going to let it stretch. This is still a little cool. I'm just taking my fingers and drawing it out. What I'm looking for is about that big, from here to here. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to brush off the extra flour off the back and the front. What we're trying not to do is make a hole. And that's actually going to look pretty good. I'm going to move this to the pizza peel. Bring it over here for you. No, all of a sudden I just ruined it. No, I didn't. We're going to pull, and we're just going to keep pulling until we get it to the size we want. So that worked pretty good. Now this is important. While we're doing anything with this, we're going to take this board and we're going to move it around every once in a while. We don't want this thing to stick. Any moisture in that dough, and this is going to turn into a really ugly time on the board, in the oven, I should say. sticking to the board is not good. All right, I'm going to do something terrible. I'm actually going to use a jarred sauce. It is good. I'm not a big sauce connoisseur. I am a pizza crust connoisseur. And try to get it not quite that close to the edge, but get it close to the edge and don't smother it. Just don't smother it. It won't cook. You can, if you want to have even less, a better crust, you can put a little olive oil under it. I don't prefer it, but yeah, just hit it with some olive oil before you put the sauce on it, and that'll stop the sauce from cooking. Yeah, soaking in. All right, that is done. Next, really important, very, very heavy, thick cut mozzarella. You use the thin stuff, you're just going to have it burnt. Just going to be burnt. And this is 12 ounces. I'm probably not going to use it all. Might get close. If you're a cheese fanatic, definitely use it. Going to get close, not quite. Don't want things burning. All right. Now we're going to take our, notice this little thing's, I can't believe, good timing. I need to call you back in 10 minutes. Bye. Okay, bye-bye. All right, that was my wife. Because I don't have 10 minutes. This will probably be stuck to the board like nobody's business in 10 minutes. So again, we're going for the Fra-Diablo, which was sweet Italian peppers, sweet Italian sausage, and hot cherry peppers. Hot cherry peppers were not available here in Raleigh. So we're doing the next best thing, our hot jalapenos. They aren't quite as good, but they're okay. And this looks like a lot of sausage. Just try to get it even. It is a lot of sausage. It's my pizza. Now again, the jalapenos are on a paper towel. I want to soak up as much of that vinegar as possible. The vinegar taste when it's cooked is not bad, but if it gets liquidy, it's not good. And I got a little bunch of these pre-sliced olives, and I'm just gonna flip those around. Again, as I said, it's a moving, so we're happy. Time to transfer to the oven. Alright, first things first. Steel says it is 583 degrees. Let's put her in and see what happens. Let's put her in and see what happens. Alright. She's in the oven. And quite honestly, that looks done. Now, because there's a whole bunch of cornmeal on that piece of steel, I'm going to get it now before we smoke out the kitchen. Okay, this is a done pizza. Alright, I'm gonna give you guys a look at the back side of the pizza. Switch around to a different camera. You can sort of hear this. It is nice and crispy. This has got a cool, you cut it now, it's gonna be a funky mess. So we're gonna give it 5 minutes to cool off, and then it's dinner time. Oh, and by the way, look carefully at all these sausages. They were not done before. they're done perfectly now. That's why you leave them a little undercooked, and then when you cook them in the oven at 550 degrees, perfection. Talk to you soon when it's tasting time. All right, it is now time. I just want to eat the dang thing. So it's now time to give this a little bit of a cut. And I got to bring in the cutting board. Put that over here on the stove. All right, cutting the pizza. I mean, it's very done. This could have stayed in another minute or two. Now that I'm looking at it, didn't do it. Start in the center. Push. This cutting board is not very big. I like cutting my pizzas into 6, not 8 pieces. It's a thing. And like I said, I like a little bit of chewiness in my pizza dough. I didn't think I said that, but I do. So it's one of the reasons I didn't make it darker. You could have left it in another couple minutes. That was in for 6.5. But here it is. The best pizza you can make. It's not 1 minute in the oven, it's 6.5. Everything else takes the exact same amount of time as that $500 accessory for your outdoors that you can't use in the wintertime because your pizza's going to be frozen by the time you get back in. Give you a look at the bottom. This crust is done just right. Nice, firm. God, that tastes good. I'm eating more. I'll talk to you guys later. Okay, I just want to recap a few things before I sign off for good here. Well, you guys know what I mean. Is making pizza for Neapolitan style. You use, if you're doing by volume, a 2-to-1 ratio, or if you're going by weight, a 1.5 times as much flour as you do water. Your important thing is what you bake it on, and a pizza steel is much, much better than a pizza stone. You can try it, but I really encourage you to try both a stone and a steel and find out what works for you. Also, do not bake it up high. Remember, you want to bake it low, not high. If you bake it high, you're going to burn the cheese. Not a lot of toppings on this one. You can see the cheese was getting a little bit on the brown side, even on the next to the bottom rack in the oven. So could you imagine if it spent 6 minutes up at the very top? This would be blackened. We don't want that. We like pizza. We like our cheese to be sort of melty and a little bit done. Leave your toppings big enough so that you can taste them, especially with sausage and things. Cook it for 6-7 minutes. Look at it. Decide if you want to go another minute. This one could have used another minute on the, if you like a more firm crust. I think it's just right for me. But again, this is how you make it yours and I'll make it mine. So hope you enjoy this. Hope you learned something. And please consider liking this video, subscribing, and then hitting the notification bell so you get more of this type of content next time I post it.